Welcome back, parents. Listen, I just want you to imagine for a minute that it's holiday time and you're going to visit your grandma and you pull up and park outside of her house and you're just like, oh, I can't wait for my favorite dessert. Like that one thing I wait the whole year to partake in. And you walk in the house and you just smell that sweet aroma just wafting past your nose. And you're like, yes, I've been waiting for this all year. Can you imagine that? Like, what is that for you? I definitely can call to mind what it is for me. My grandmother's homemade cinnamon rolls. They were gooey, full of caramel, and just amazing. And every year at Christmas time, I would just get so excited to indulge in those. But it was really a bummer because that was the only time of the year I would get to enjoy it. And so the really cool thing about today's episode is our guest and her husband decided to make their family's favorite treat available to everyone all year round. So, welcome to the show, Danielle Derner.
Hi, Jordan. Thank you so much for having me. We're excited, or I guess I'm excited to be here and to chat with you just about our family's business and our family and what that looks like for us.
Oh my gosh, if I could have my grandmother's cinnamon rolls every day or every weekend when I'm watching a football game, I would just be in heaven. So the fact that you and your husband Cody made a business out of your grandmother's or his grandmother's
Yes.
recipe for caramel corn is just like mind blowing to me. It's so awesome. What a blessing to your families.
Yes. It's been fun, most of it.
Well, you're married and you have two young kids, right?
Yes, I do. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And then our little German Shepherd who's 8, and he's crazier than the kids sometimes. So,
Oh, yeah. So you really have three. Yes,
right,
three
right.
kids.
And some people tell me my husband counts too. So, 4.
Often they do, and they'd say the same thing
Yes.
about us, I'm sure.
I know. I know.
Well, tell us how this whole idea got started because I imagine that, you know, after you graduated high school, got married, like you had maybe other ideas for a career. What did you start doing out of the chute, before you had kids?
Yeah, absolutely. I always joke with people, this is the very last thing in the entire world that I ever expected for my life to become. I always have worked with children. Like I grew up nannying, babysitting, doing the whole thing. And so when I graduated from college, I got my degree in education and I also got my master's degree in gifted and talented. And so I was a teacher. And then we had our first child. And I decided that I was going to stay at home with her. And Cody was running an oil and gas company. So he was doing that. And I stayed at home with her and then had another baby. And I always joke that Christmas time, Thanksgiving time was always the time when his family would make what we now call crack corn. Back then, it wasn't really called that. It was just grandma's caramel popcorn. But they would always make it over Thanksgiving and hand it out over the holidays in these gallon sized Ziploc baggies that we joke because we would eat the whole gallon. And now we know the nutritional information on all of it. It's a little terrifying, but so about I joke that 15 days before we had our second baby, Cody and his dad were sitting in our living room and Cody was like, "Yeah, I filed for the LLC. So we're going to start KrackCorn." And so I had a brand new baby January 15th of 2020, and then as we all remember in March of 2020 our world kind of got rocked, which sent my husband working from home. And then during that time, we started making it in the kitchen, or I started making it in the kitchen and handing it out to people and friends. And then I would say maybe August, he kind of started stepping out of his oil and gas business and leaning full time into crack corn. And from there, it was born. And 3 years ago, so September of 2020, we launched on shelf into grocery stores. And now we are just trying to
Everywhere.
survive. Yeah. Well, we're trying to be everywhere, whether we're everywhere yet or not. But we're definitely trying. And so it's just been a journey and a huge learning experience of running a company that neither of us ever had any really interest in running. And then also adding that layer of family dynamics, husband wife dynamics. That entire thing is a new experience for both of us for sure.
Holy smokes. So, okay, we've got to back up here because you have one, young child and a newborn
Mhm.
or about to have a newborn.
Yeah.
And he says, honey, we're doing this. We're
It's
going all
time.
in.
Yeah.
It's time. I filed the LLC.
Yeah.
Let's go. Was there any hesitation from your
I
perspective?
didn't know what was happening. I joke with him about this all the time. I don't know what my expectations were for this business. We joke of like, if we knew what we were going to do, like, would we do it again? Like, if we knew where we would be now, would we do it again? And I think I just didn't ask any questions. I always say, joke, whatever you want to call it, that I blindly trust him. And it's kind of terrifying sometimes. So when he said, let's do this, and I said, okay, that's just what we did. And it was a shock at how quickly it kind of grew. So just the learning piece of food and what you're allowed to make in your home kitchen to then moving to a commercial kitchen to then, not being able to be in that kitchen because we were expanding. I mean, we would go and my mom and dad would watch our two kids and and Cody and I would go make KrackCorn from 6 p.m. until midnight because that was our 6-hour shift.
Right.
And then we would wake up the next day and he would go into work. And that was kind of when he was like, this isn't working anymore. And I would go, I was still nursing, trying to
Yes.
figure out how to keep my family alive. So it was, yeah, it was a crazy kind of development. And I don't think that I had any clue what was coming my way.
Wow, I love the blind trust because sometimes that's just how it is in marriage, where it's like,
Yes.
I picked this human for a reason. I chose you, right?
Yes.
To do this life with me forever, long after our kids are gone from the nest. And so
Exactly.
just the freedom to say, okay, without thinking through all the details, like, that is just inspiring. I love that. And I'm sure you're going, "Well, Jordan, don't give me all the
Yeah.
credit because, like, I may have been a little confused postpartum, like, I may have been hoodwinked," but
Right. I had no idea. I remember I would make it when we first started, I'd make it every Sunday. And it would go like one batch, and then it was two batches and three batches. And then all of a sudden he's like, we have to do Saturdays and Sundays because now we were selling it online. And then all of a sudden he's like, okay, and Monday and Wednesday and Friday. And I'm like, wait a second. Now my life is gone. I have these young children. It's a process. It takes a long time to make it. And so we were both just learning. And I think that for us, we just had to be there for each other and be a sounding board and listen when the other person was like, I am overwhelmed. I can't do this. This is too much for me. And then the next person would, step in and help.
Yes. I joke that in marriage, oftentimes I feel like we have to, like, hold the bucket. Like, one person gets
Yeah.
overwhelmed and they're just, like,
Yes.
vomiting out all the struggles, and you're just like, "Here we go. Yep,
Yeah.
I got you." And then
Yeah.
it's you the next time, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So that was 2020. This is 2023. And to me, someone who enjoys this snack, this crunchy little caramel snack that I'm holding up. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing this right now, the red bag, the amazing branding that they've done. Um, I mean, it just seems like this has exploded, like, literally over 3 years. And for me as a consumer, it's just hard to imagine a small business going from your kitchen to just on the shelves in Costco. I've had it from King Supers and Safeway and, like, all the places, Ace Hardware. I mean, in
Yeah.
just such a short period of time. So it was just the two of you to get started. Like, how many employees do you have by this point?
Yes. It has been an experience. My husband goes from 0 to 1,000 right away. So there was no, I always joke with him that patience is not a virtue of his. He needs to work on it. And so do I. We all need to. But in business, it's been helpful because he just pushes and pushes and pushes. So he puts in a lot of work as far as getting it into stores. But our employees have been a huge part of our business growing because I couldn't make it in the kitchen forever. And then I had stepped away from teaching. We had 2 children. I had to take care of them. So I couldn't be making KrackCorn all the time. So we started making some hires, and some of them stuck and some of them didn't. And we learned a ton about just different types of employees and the types of employees that you want in your business. And then I would say, I guess it's been 2 years ago, I finally just looked at Cody and I was like, you're doing too much. At this point, we had outgrown a commercial kitchen. We had to go build our own manufacturing facility. And he was just trying to do everything. And I finally said, you can't do this. This is
Yes.
bad for your health. It's bad for like our family. It's bad for all of it. And so I always say I put my foot down and made him hire somebody to help him. So he hired this wonderful woman. Her name is Chrissy, and she's still with us. And she started off at like 20 hours a week. And she knew that like this would go into a full-time position. And she just kind of learned it as she went. It's funny enough, she used to be an educator as well and had moved to Colorado and was just kind of looking for something to do while trying to figure out what she wanted to do. And now I call her his right-hand woman at KrackCorn. She helps run the show. She's amazing. But she really helped like project us into where we are now. And now she's our operations manager. We just moved into a new facility, built out a bigger facility. And we couldn't do it without her for sure. And then we also have a floor manager now that is starting to manage the employees that are actually making the KrackCorn, which Cody used to have to do that piece as well. And we have now hired someone to actually help Chrissy because her plate was too full. And so it's been fun watching how it goes. You know, we went from a team of 3 to I think we had like making KrackCorn to a team of probably 17 employees, making it, bagging it, boxing it, getting it onto trucks. It's been a crazy, crazy development that I could never in my wildest dreams have imagined.
Wow. Well, you're smiling as you talk about it. Are you enjoying it? I mean, is this like a passion or is it come and go and kind of in waves?
Yeah, I mean, I'm smiling because I don't have to deal with the day-to-day of KrackCorn anymore. I get to do all the what I call the fun parts. So I get to go to trade shows. I get people to try it. I get to talk to people about it. I get to talk to customers. Sometimes I have to talk to customers that don't like it or are upset about something. So that's probably the hardest part of my job. But Cody has definitely built a company that he runs, and that's what he does. And then I can still take care of our family while he is at the physical location of KrackCorn. And then I can just do some stuff from home. And really, the employees that we have at KrackCorn are the only reason why it's still going.
Wow. What an awesome development. I mean, I'm just following your story and just imagining this. I have this whole visual in my mind of like going from the kitchen to a commercial
Yeah.
kitchen, then to this
Yeah.
massive, like, oh, this it's just such a cool journey. And as you were talking, I was reminded of how I first tried crack corn because I was working for Steve Markle at Families of
Yes.
Character when he was, at the helm, and he gifted us crack corn for Christmas. That's what he
Yes.
gave us for Christmas. And I was like, oh man, another one of those holiday treats. I'm probably going to give this to someone else because I don't need any more sweets.
Right, right.
And then I got desperate one night. I was wrapping packages for Christmas and I'm like, I need a snack while I'm doing this. I'm up in my closet and wrapping paper everywhere. And I was like, oh, under the tree is some cracked corn. I'm gonna go grab that and try it. Forget it. I wasted that bag that entire
Yeah.
night. I mean, and when I say wasted it, I mean I totally consumed the entire bag.
Yeah.
It was just melting in my mouth, and I was at some point. it's probably not has anything to do with the name, but at some point I was like, I hope nobody comes in here and sees me. Like I was being all sneaky with it. And I
Right.
actually thought, I should, and I did. I went out and I bought a second bag. I admit my deep dark secret. And I hid it under some sweaters in my closet because I was like, nobody's going to get to this. Mama needs a late night
Yes,
snack.
this is
I want to be able
mine.
to find it. Yes. Yes. These people in my house, you can't keep sweets around very long because they find them and they're gone, even the best hiding places. And so I was able to
Absolutely.
enjoy two bags like without anybody getting their hands on it. So, but now the secret's out and we've got bags packed for our trip tomorrow. We're going up to the mountains and it's like, duh, you don't go anywhere without your crack corn
Yeah.
because
Well,
it's
thank
a
you.
yes, it's just a hit with everyone. So I have to ask, there's got to be certain like healthy habits and routines that you and Cody both have and keep going on a regular basis in order to keep your energy up, to stay focused, not to get distracted by the trivial many, to kind of hone in on the important few. So, what is like a day like over at the Derner household?
Yeah. Um, some people call me crazy, but we are a very scheduled, organized, goal-oriented family. And when I say organized, it does not mean that my house is organized or anything like that, but organized as in we know our expectations for the day. Everything's where it's supposed to be. And we wake up, Cody and I wake up at 4:20 in the morning and we work out. That's his number one. That's what keeps him going through the day. I do gratitude journals for my children every morning. I do a gratitude journal for myself. And then I always do my prayer journal and then a devotional. That's just how I have to get my mind right. So our children don't leave their rooms until about 6:45 during the school year, 7 o'clock. And they just know that if they wake up early, they play in their rooms, and that time when we wake up from 4:20 until 7 a.m. is really our time. And I know that everybody does their time at a different time of the day whenever it works. We go to bed early,
Yeah,
but we just have found that we have to have that time in the morning so that we can carry through our day. And Cody running KrackCorn and me running our family. And we've just found that that's the most important part. When Cody wakes up, as I'm doing gratitude journals, he's writing his daily goals and he writes his goals down every single day. And he has his weekly goals. I mean, his goals go from, this is going to sound silly, but one time I told him, you just never even give me a hug and a kiss in the morning. Like it's so fast. And then the next day, all of a sudden, I'm starting to get hugs at the same time every day. And I said to him, I'm part of your goals, aren't I?
that's right. That's right.
And he goes, you are. And he's like, but that's how you create habits. And so for our children, it's the same way. They know that they wake up, they brush their teeth, they go to the bathroom, they get dressed. We use the Families of Character 5-star week. And they know that if they get their 5-star week, then we get to do something fun as a family, whether that's going to a park or going to the jump trampoline park. I mean, they get to pick something. They always want ice cream, so we have to kind of, steer it in other directions sometimes, but they know what's expected of them and when it's expected. And I think that just that schedule is super helpful. And it's not to say that we don't go against the schedule sometime and things get crazy. But I will say that when we go out of our routine, it gets chaotic in our home. Just more behaviors start popping out with our kids. Cody and I do worse communicating with each other. And so we just found that like in order for our family to run as smooth as you can, that's just what we really need. And running a business, especially one that's so physically and mentally demanding of Cody, he, I believe, likes coming home to like knowing what's going to happen next. And I think that our kids like that comfort as well.
Absolutely. It's good for all of us. Structure and routine is something that we crave as humans, you
Yeah.
know? Just think about animals too, right? Like your German Shepherd. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
crated him, but animals
Yeah.
prefer to know the limits, right? And
Yeah.
that they know the routines when they're going to get fed. Well, we're not much different. And so these morning routines are just vital. And when
Yeah.
you condition your kids at such young ages to have a set morning routine and develop these healthy habits, you are
Mhm.
setting them up for so much success as adults. And then they don't have to, when they're in their 20s in college and that sort of thing, kind of start from scratch and try to figure all this out on their own. They can start exploring other things, business opportunities for themselves or family life. And so I am a huge supporter of family, morning routines, and not just
Yeah.
for us, the parents, but to get the kids in it together. I think
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
just
Cody
awesome.
and I laugh because our youngest, who's 3, you can tell, like, so she'll do really good job with the 5-star week for like 2 or 3 weeks, right? And then we as parents start to forget and, oh, I don't have time to check that off this morning or whatever. And then 2 weeks later, we're looking at each other like, what has happened? And I'm like, it's the 5-star week.
Yes.
She stopped having to be held accountable for how she acts and when she does different things. And I mean, you could truly set a calendar on her and her behaviors on if we're following through with expectations and if we're not following through with expectations. And so for
Yes.
our family, it's just something that I know that we need. Sometimes people laugh like, how do you keep your kids in their rooms until 7? And I'm like, well, I don't think they know any different. They don't know
Sure.
that children come out of their rooms by themselves because that's just kind of how we've always done it. And it's not necessarily saying that one way is better than the other way. It's just what works for us. And Cody and I know that we have to have that time in the morning to give full to our family and our company throughout the day.
Yes. And it sounds like you have made a very conscious effort and an intentional plan to prioritize your health the first thing of the day.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I was just doing a podcast episode with Allison Caffrey, and she talks about parentpreneurs, right? Parents who start
Mhm.
a business and
Yeah.
how they find that not really balance because it's never balanced a 50-50, but um, how they find time to prioritize vacations and,
Yeah.
have a sabbatical and like do all this. It's really because of structure and first setting your routine as parents to take care of your physical health, you know, um, make good nutritional habits. And then one of the things that she suggested, she said, Jordan, I'm a business owner. So is my husband. We have, 2 boys. And one of the things I do is a priority for us is meals. We want our
Yeah.
kids to have nutritious meals. And so
Yeah.
I can weave in work during my day, but there are non negotiables for us, and that is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I will be serving it, I will be making it, and we'll be enjoying that time together. And, it seems like a small thing, but it's like, wow. Number one, you're making connections with your kids at meal times if you're prioritizing being the one that serves their meals. You are having control over the healthy food that they are exposed to. And then also, you don't feel any guilt at the end of the day. You're like, man, I crushed it. I did
Yeah.
my routine. I got my kids healthy food. I meal planned and we wove our work into that as well. And so I love your story because it just illustrates that it's possible. Like you live in the city in Denver, like
Yeah.
you're prioritizing your spiritual health, your physical health, a business, and you're still happy and you're full of joy. Like, this is awesome.
Most days. Yes. Some days. I also think that, Cody and I try to do a date night every week. And that's something that his mom she moved down to Denver and that's been so helpful for us she wants to see our kids. We can go out and have a date night because I think that with family and business, you also have to remember, like, you have to choose your spouse every day. And we have to, figure that piece of the puzzle out as well, of just like what you were saying, of just feeding all those different parts of what keeps us healthy and happy and a family unit. When we're closer, our kids see it and they feel it, and then they're better. And it's just crazy how it all really just ties together.
It does. I'm glad you mentioned date night because that's something I feel like that gets talked about in family life. But I remember being a mom with my kids were all, young, 3 kids, driving and commuting, beating my brains out, working all day. My husband's working all day. And it was like, date? How I don't even know how these
Yeah.
people are doing this.
Yeah.
And I kind of laugh at myself, but I used to tell myself, like, maybe one day we'll get there. Maybe that's for people who have X amount of money or
Right.
these bougie jobs that I'm not privy to. I kind of had this
Hmm.
victim mentality
Hmm.
about it really and then it was just like, no, we just got to put it on the calendar
Yeah.
and then figure out how to make everything else in our life work
Yeah.
around that. Because yeah, we started this family, the two of us.
Right. And if we don't feed that part of our family, then when our children are gone, there's nothing left. And I just think I have a friend who's like, yeah, we can't leave every week for date night, but they still do a date night at home. And so it's just different. She's like, it might be having a glass of wine or dessert after the kids go to bed. And yes, it's not leaving the house for an hour, 2 hours, or whatever that turns out to be. And she's like, but it's intentional, it's the same day every week. And we know that, like, if there's any issues happening in our marriage or in our family or in our business or whatever that might be, like, we know that that person is there for us at that
Yes.
time.
Yes, you have to make it work with the season of life that you're in, with your
Yeah.
family. And the bottom line is prioritizing it, scheduling it, and then when it
Hmm.
pops on your calendar, not breaking
Doing
your
it.
own integrity
Yeah,
and actually participating in it, right?
exactly. Exactly.
Yes. And I don't know if you and Cody are like this, but Josh and I are definitely like this. When something's off and we start kind of arguing about things or just kind of looking at each other crosswise, it's like, when's the last time we got
Hmm.
away together? Like, are one or both of us off our morning routine? Right. And same thing you notice about your kids.
Yeah.
Has that 5-star days routine checklist gone out the window? Where is it? Hiding under a bed somewhere? But you can pretty quickly see if you live a, you know, pretty structured life, you can quickly identify what's missing when something's awry.
Hmm. Absolutely. I
And it
told Cody the other week, I'm like, we need a date night. Because you can tell, like, oh, okay, right now we're in traveling season and we're traveling a lot. And yes, it's the two of us traveling together, but traveling for your business is very different than traveling for fun, I guess you could say. But it's
yes.
like, how do we make it so that one of those nights on our trip, since our children are already being taken care of, how do we make it so it's a date night type thing and we're not just sitting there talking about KrackCorn the entire time? Or, I mean, it's just hard. Like, it's our entire life right now, and we're just in deep, and it's exciting and it's fun, but it's also really, really hard. And our marriage is definitely hard in times, but the thing that I always am so thankful for is just we communicate, like over communicate sometimes about
Mhm.
everything. And I'm grateful for that, because if something comes up, it's not hidden for months, and building and building. It comes out pretty quickly.
Yes. So what does that look like for you guys in terms of communicating on a regular basis? Is there some time set aside in that morning time that you talk about certain things, or there are boundaries around what you talk about at date night, or how does that work? Are you Marco Poloing with video chat
Right.
throughout the day, or
Yeah. No,
what are you
no.
doing? Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back and forth. We try different things and you go through different seasons. Definitely not at dinner time because we have young children. And as much as he tries or I try, you actually can't communicate about anything. They have nothing to say until you start trying to talk about something important. I think that Cody's in a phase of life right now of exhaustion, of we just opened this new facility. We had to hire more people. Our production like 3 to 4 times itself. So he's in a crazy season right now. And I find that I have to give grace. And I've
Mm.
also found that, like, he just doesn't want to talk about it. Like he's living it all day long. And he doesn't want to come home to me being like, okay, who showed up to work today? Who didn't? Did anybody, like what happened? Tell me everything. And he's like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to talk about KrackCorn right now. And I have found that I overbook myself on the mothering side. So like I help with the PTO, I help run the coordination at the preschool, I run a MOPS group, like I do all these things. And I'm finding that if he asks me something about the nitty gritty of that, I'm like, it's not worth your time. I'm not going to tell you about it. So I think that right now we're learning where we're just exhausted and the time to talk about it is just not right now. I think that honestly, for date night, some people say, okay, you can't talk about work. You can't talk about your kids. For us, I learned the most about Cody at date night, and I learned the most about KrackCorn at date night, because I think without the children around, he feels like he can actually open up and we can talk about things that aren't going to be interrupted 15 times in a matter of 1 minute.
Yes.
So I think that for us, it's a changing period of what we talk about and when we talk about it. And Brene Brown did a podcast about percentages of like how much of me is left. And sometimes we'll just text and, I've had a hard day and I just text him and I'm like, I'm at 10% or I'm at 15%. And so he can come home and he always jokes, well, what if I'm only at 15%? And I'm like,
Yes.
you have to tell me and then we'll just pretend. Like,
Right. We'll fake it till we
you
make it.
know,
These humans won't realize it.
we're just going to put it all away and love our children for the next hour and a half, because we find that that really does fill us back up,
It
is
does.
just giving them our attention. And
Yes.
we're
And
not perfect and it's easy to talk about all the things that work, but obviously there's many days where we're just tired or, things fall apart for us, or I don't want to wake up at 4:20 and I hit
yes.
the snooze, so all of those things, obviously we're real people. Those things happen, but you can 100% see when you're consistent, when our children know what their expectations are, they know if they make one choice, this is what happens. If they make a different choice, this is what happens. And it's the same for Cody and I.
Absolutely. I love how you are just the theme here is just making sure that you're connecting on a regular
Yeah.
basis.
Yeah.
That
Putting our
that
phones
it
away.
yes. These stinking phones, sometimes I just want to
I
throw it
know.
out on the road and run it over. I'm telling you.
I know, but
We have
it's hard. Cody's like, Danielle, this is our livelihood. Like my phone and my computer are our livelihood. And I'm like, I know, but our kids don't know that. All they know is that you have something in your hands, and vice versa too, right? Like it happens for me too. You want to tell them I'm reading an email, I'm working, but they don't care. They don't
no.
know. All they know is that you're looking at your phone instead of watching them, do gymnastics or whatever it might be. So we just
Yes.
have to try to
Yes.
be very, very intentional, put our phones on the counter and
Yep.
hope that someday when they have phones that they just follow suit.
Yes. Well, they'll be watching you, and they do what that we do. That's
Right.
just how they are. But also I think, circling back with them, and I love how your whole family is goal oriented and you're all working on gratitude every day and one
Yeah.
common goal every day. And I think another common goal is just to acknowledge our faults in front of our kids, right? Like, oh,
Absolutely.
I did this again. You busted me.
Yes.
I'm
I am
on this
so
stinking thing.
sorry.
I'm sorry. Will you please forgive me? I'm going to try
Right.
better tomorrow, and then they're
Yes.
usually good about kind of calling us out or helping us be accountable,
Oh,
which
they're
I
really good at
appreciate.
calling us.
I
Yeah.
know.
They're the first people that are going to call you out on it for sure.
Yes, but I love that because that means there's a true team
Yeah.
mentality. They feel
Yeah.
safe enough to call you out. If they never call you out or say, "Mom, you said you're gonna do this and you're not living up to it," that indicates a real fracture in the relationship,
Yeah.
actually. There's not enough safety in the
I
foundation in
know.
order for them to say that. So, I love what you guys are doing. You just have a very intentional way of engaging with each other as husband and wife, and then with your kids and helping them just to develop their character at such a young, sweet little
Yes.
age with these little healthy habits. So
Yeah.
it's wonderful. And I am going to be sure that the 5-star days checklist is linked here in our show notes so
Yeah.
everybody can make sure they grab a copy of it because it is a game changer when they have a routine to follow and little stars to color in, it sure makes a difference on
Yeah.
getting them at least started in the habits, right?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness. So, so good. Well, Danielle, thank you for being on our show. Thanks for blessing us with your story and giving us a little peek into the family behind crack corn, my favorite snack.
Yes. No, we are happy. I'm happy to have been able to do it with you. It's definitely an exciting adventure for us, a lot of ups and downs, and sometimes there's more downs than ups, but it just goes to show that like sometimes there are perks in being in a business with your spouse of like, you know that that person's there for you because you've made a vow to each other to not leave each other, right? And so just trying to keep that piece of strong for our company, for our children, for our family. So
I
it's been
love it.
fun.
You're leaving a legacy of grandma's homemade cooking and a whole
Yes.
lot more. It's not just the caramel corn, but just the whole story and the background and like the grit it takes to keep, slogging away at this. And then just the people that you're blessing by employing them and then helping us in the closet who are, wrapping gifts at Christmas time. Oh, wait, I
Yes.
just got to admit, I ate this for lunch today. Okay. I couldn't even keep it closed before we got on. I was like, well, I'll just like open it on the show and then grab a piece out and chomp on the in the mic, and I couldn't even last. Like, I am weak.
Well,
It's
wait until you see what's next. So we are actually launching a new flavor. So it's brand new.
yeah.
It's not in the market yet, but we just did shows with Ace Hardware and True Value, and we're about to go to Nax, which is a big convenience store. And grocery has all tried it. So hopefully you'll see it on your shelves. But this will be a better lunch for you. But it is actually crack corn with cheese.
What?
So it has
Oh
crack
man.
corn and then we put cheese on top of it. So it is not a mixture. It's not cheese popcorn and caramel popcorn. It's actually everything on one bite. So you still get that like crunchy melt in your mouth, but then you also get some savory with the cheese. So
Forget it. The sweet and
yes,
salty in one bite. And I'm telling you,
it
people,
is really good.
I have tried a lot of popcorn. I've tried the Costco stuff. And there's always these giant kernels, and I'm like, "Ow, I think I broke my tooth," you know? This
Yeah.
is not. It melts. I mean, there's every once in a while you get a kernel, and you have to, right?
Yeah.
But
That's popcorn. Yeah.
yes, but I mean, there's no GMOs, it's gluten-free, and no high fructose corn syrup. So
Yes.
it's
We
about as healthy
try.
as you get. That's right.
It's as healthy as you can with an unhealthy snack.
Exactly, exactly. Well, and what about the award you guys received?
Yes, we did. We got the like the most innovative salty snack of the year. That was the first year with the original crack corn. And then we'll put in for, but I freaked out on that because that was like up against Doritos and Pirates Booty. And I'm like, these are my kids' favorite. This is amazing.
And you
And the lady's
won!
like, yeah, the lady's like, you're really excited. I'm like, you don't even know. Like, we are a mom and pop situation here. Like, we are
That's right.
nothing, you know. It was one of our very first big trade shows and we were nothing. And so it was very, very exciting. And I
Oh,
think it helped
how
launch us into a lot of places.
I love
So
it. You can get it in big bags, like I said, for gifting, or you can get it
yeah.
in snacking size, and you can get,
Yeah.
like, a whole box full, just like the
Yeah.
Pirate Booty at Costco. You can
Yeah.
go to Amazon, people, order it, it will show up at your door. I'm telling you, this is so good.
That is
And I'm
true.
thinking about this stuff. I've never had anyone on the show to talk about their snack. I mean, so I gotta love it to be like, "No, we're gonna talk about this on a podcast."
Yes. Yes. Well,
Oh
thank
my
you.
gosh.
I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Well, guys, you can find KrackCorn online, crackcornpopcorn.com, or on the socials, because of course they're on Instagram. I love to take a picture of myself with the crack corn and like post it and tag you guys. And
You are good
so
at that. Yes.
let's see if we can blow up their Instagram, like shut down the whole gram because of all the crack corn pictures and promos we do. That would be awesome. And also, guys, if you are looking for some tools like Danielle was talking about, the 5 Star Days routine or our monthly character boxes that come, where you can work as an entire family on organization, respect, responsibility, then check out our shop at familiesofcharacter.com. Another really new, exciting thing that we have coming is coaching. So we're going to be doing parent coaching in small groups, and it's all virtual. So you can do it from the comfort of your own home and log in with a community of people that are wanting to get in better morning routines and rekindle their relationship as husband and wife and get some order in their house so that they can start doing some vacations and having some fun and having better balance between work and family life. So check out our website for coaching opportunities as well, familiesofcharacter.com. And as always, if this has blessed you in any way, please share this episode with others. Share it in a simple text. Just pull it up on your phone and then forward it to people in your circle. And that will help us spread good will and good news and good snacks with everyone. We will catch you next time on the Families of Character show.